Welcome, friend. I'm so glad you've come here tonight. Take a slow breath with me, soft and steady. Let the air rise into your chest, then fall away, carrying with it the weight of your day. You have arrived. You have done enough. Now is your time to rest. Tonight, we wander through stories carried by Zen masters, travelers, and teachers, each one a lantern to guide you gently toward sleep. If your mind has been busy, if your thoughts have been loud, these tales will remind you of the happiness that is already within, waiting quietly to be noticed. In our rushing world, we forget. Calm does not live in possessions or plans. It lives here, breathing with you now. So, before you close your eyes fully, my dear listener, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if what I share truly brings you peace. And if you wish, tell me where and what time you are listening from. I love knowing where my friends across the world are joining me. Now, let us ease together into tonight's first story, side by side, as though we were sitting near a lantern glow, the night air soft and still. There was once a narrow bamboo bridge that stretched across a deep ravine. It swayed whenever the wind touched it, creaking gently, the planks bound together with nothing more than rope. The villagers who lived nearby crossed it daily, carrying baskets of rice, bundles of wood, or children in their arms. To the fearful, it looked fragile, too delicate to trust. Yet for generations, the bridge had held steady. One day, a young traveler came to the edge of the bridge. His pack was heavy, his heart restless. He looked at the fragile structure and shook his head. "This cannot hold me. It will break beneath my weight." He stepped forward, and the bridge swayed. His heart raced. Halfway across, the wind rose, rattling the bamboo planks. Panic filled his chest. He froze, clutching the rope rails, certain he would fall. An old monk appeared at the far side, walking with calm steps. His feet touched each plank lightly, his body moving with the bridge instead of against it. He crossed smoothly, as though carried by the wind itself. When he reached the traveler, he smiled. "Why do you cling so tightly?" the monk asked. "Because I fear falling," cried the traveler. The monk placed a hand gently on the rope. The bridge does not break because it moves. It is strong because it bends. To cross safely, you must loosen your body. Walk with the bridge, not against it. Trust its sway. Trust the air. Trust your steps. The traveler hesitated, but then took a breath. He loosened his grip, feeling the bridge shift beneath him. At first, his legs trembled, but slowly, he began to move with the rhythm of the bamboo. Step by step, he crossed, until at last he reached the far side, his heart pounding, but filled with relief. The monk bowed. "Life is the same, young one. The ground beneath us is never fixed, but if we soften, if we trust, each step becomes steady." Zen often teaches through simple things: bamboo, wind, bridges, bowls. Here, the bamboo bridge reminds us that balance comes not from rigidity, but from flow. The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." The bridge did not become safer through clinging. It became safe when the traveler moved with it. Friend, consider your own days. How often do you grip too tightly, clinging to plans, resisting change, fearing the sway of life? Does the fear itself make your footing less steady? What would happen if, instead of resisting, you trusted your steps as they came? In some monasteries, novices are asked to walk slowly across narrow planks during training. Their instinct is to freeze, to tense, but teachers encourage them to sway with the wood, to let their bodies bend like reeds in the wind. In this way, they learn that balance is a dance, not a fight. Zen masters might ask, is your life steadier when you stiffen against it, or when you walk with its sway? As you rest now, dear one, imagine yourself on that bamboo bridge. The air is cool, the ravine deep, the planks beneath your feet shifting gently. At first you tense, but then you breathe. You allow your body to soften, your steps to match the sway. Suddenly, the bridge feels safe. Each breath is another step. Each exhale carries you farther across. The traveler never forgot that crossing. Years later, whenever life wavered beneath him, he remembered the monk's words, "Walk with the bridge, not against it." And each time, he found balance again. Friend, tonight, may you also find balance, not by clinging, not by resisting, but by trusting. The bridge of sleep will carry you safely. All you must do is soften, breathe, and step gently into rest. Friend, the bamboo bridge still sways in your mind, doesn't it? You can almost feel the gentle give of the planks, the rope railing, rough beneath your hands, the air moving softly around you. Just as the traveler discovered, peace arrives not by stiffening against life, but by walking with its sway. Hold on to that ease now, as we step into the next story. A lesson found in the glow of a candle and the truth revealed in a mirror. In an old temple by the sea, a young monk was tasked with caring for the meditation hall. Each evening, he lit rows of candles, their flames shimmering across polished floors. One night, After the hall was prepared, the master entered, carrying a small bronze mirror. He placed it before the largest candle and asked the novice, "What do you see?" The monk leaned closer. "I see the flame reflected," he said. The master nodded. "Does the reflection burn?" The monk shook his head. "No, master. It shines, but it does not give heat." The master tilted the mirror slightly, and the flame fractured into wavering shapes, stretched and bent. "And now? Does the reflection change the fire?" "No," the monk whispered. "The candle remains steady." The master smiled. "So it is with the mind. Awareness is the mirror. Thoughts are reflections. They may bend, distort, or vanish, but the flame of life itself remains untouched. Look too long into the mirror, and you may mistake the image for reality. But turn your gaze back to the flame, and truth is clear." The young monk bowed, understanding at last that his restless thoughts were only reflections, shadows of the real flame. The Buddha often spoke of the mind as something to be seen clearly. "Just as a polished mirror reflects form," he said, "so a purified mind reflects truth." Yet, how often do we chase reflections, our worries, fears, imagined futures, forgetting that they have no substance? Friend, think of your own mind tonight. Perhaps it reflects anxieties, replaying the day, projecting tomorrow. But beneath those shifting images, the flame of your being remains steady, unbroken. Can you sense it now? The quiet life burning within you, untouched by the play of reflections? Some Zen monks polish mirrors daily as a meditation. Each stroke is a reminder that the clearer the mind, the more truth shines through. Others sit before a single candle, watching how the flame wavers, yet never falters, training themselves to rest in the source, not the shadows. Zen masters might ask, do you live by chasing reflections or by resting in the flame itself? As you lie here, my dear one, imagine a candle glowing steadily in your chest. Its light is warm, golden, unwavering. Around it, 1,000 reflections flicker on the walls of the mind. Memories, plans, stories. Watch them move, then return to the flame itself. There, peace waits. There, no distortion can reach. The young monk lit candles differently after that night. He no longer hurried past their flames. Each light reminded him that the reflections in his mind were not the truth. Only the flame was. Friend, tonight may you rest in that flame, steady and calm, while letting every reflection drift like shadows across a wall. Friend, the candle still glows within you, doesn't it? That steady flame at your center, shining No matter how many reflections dance and distort across the mirror of the mind, let its warmth settle in your chest as we move to the next tale, one about sound, silence, and the power of a bell that was never struck. High in the mountains stood a temple known for its great bronze bell. Cast centuries earlier, its surface was etched with prayers, and its deep voice carried across valleys whenever it was struck. Travelers said the sound seemed to vibrate not just through the air, but through their very bones. But in the meditation hall, there hung another bell, smaller, simpler, and never rung. A novice, puzzled, asked his teacher, "Master, why keep a bell that no one strikes? What use is it if it never makes sound?" The master guided him to sit beside the silent bell. They meditated together for an hour. At first, the novice heard only his own restless thoughts, the shifting of his body, the wind tapping at the shutters. Then, slowly, the quiet deepened. After a long while, the master whispered, "Do you hear it?" The novice frowned. "Hear what?" "The bell," the master said softly. The novice shook his head. "But it has not been struck." The master smiled. "Exactly. Its silence is the true sound. Strike it, and you hear only an echo that fades. Leave it still, and it teaches the soundless vibration that never ends." The novice's breath slowed. For the first time, he understood. Silence itself was not empty. It resounded, vast and alive. Zen often points to the truth that silence is not absence, but presence. The Buddha said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." Yet beyond words, beyond sound, there is a peace that hums quietly, always here, waiting to be noticed. Friend, think of your own moments tonight. Perhaps you long for quiet, but find noise, cars outside, voices of thought within. Yet beneath it all, there is the silent bell. Can you hear it now? Not with your ears, but with your heart? In some temples, monks gather not to chant or strike instruments, but to sit in complete silence. They call it shikantaza, just sitting. The point is not to create stillness, but to notice the silence already present, holding every sound. Zen masters might ask, if you stop striking the bell of thought, what silence would you hear? As you rest, my dear one, imagine sitting beside that bronze bell, your body heavy, your breath soft. No one strikes it, yet its presence fills the hall. The silence it offers is vast, enveloping you, humming gently beneath every heartbeat. Let yourself fall into that resonance, soundless yet full. The novice no longer asked why the bell was never rung. Each time he entered the hall, its silence greeted him like an old friend. He realized that the greatest teaching was not in the echoes that fade, but in the stillness that remains. Friend, tonight may you also rest in that stillness, the soundless song of peace, humming quietly, carrying you into sleep. Friend, the silence of that unstruck bell still vibrates within you, doesn't it? A soundless presence humming beneath your breath, soft as moonlight, steady as the night itself. Let that silence carry you gently forward as we enter another story, one about patterns in sand, erased overnight, reminding us of impermanence and the beauty of letting go. In a monastery by the sea, a young monk was tasked with tending the Zen garden. Each morning, before the others awoke, he carried a wooden rake across the courtyard and stepped into the garden's wide bed of white sand. Slowly, he dragged the rake in smooth arcs, creating ripples that mimicked the waves beyond the temple walls. Circles spiraled outward from stone islands, and paths of lines stretched as if leading toward infinity. The monk took pride in his patterns. They were delicate, yet precise, like calligraphy written on the earth. When the garden was finished, he stood back in awe, as though the whole universe lay in that simple sand. But when dawn came, the wind rose. It swept across the courtyard, scattering leaves, tumbling pebbles, smudging the lines. By the next morning, the perfect design was gone, erased by nature's breath. Frustrated, the monk complained to his master, "All my work is wasted. Each day I begin again, and each day the wind destroys it." The master stepped into the garden and picked up the rake. He drew one line through the sand, then let the wind scatter it. "See," the master said, "how the garden teaches you. Beauty is not in permanence. Beauty is in the act itself. The patterns are not ruined. They are complete in the moment they are made." The monk bowed, understanding slowly that his frustration came not from the wind, but from his own desire to cling. Zen gardens are never meant to last. They remind us that impermanence is not loss, but life itself. The Buddha said, "All conditioned things are impermanent." When one sees this, one turns away from suffering. Each erased pattern is not destruction, but completion. Friend, think of your own days. How often have you tried to preserve something only to watch it fade? A moment of joy, a perfect plan, a treasured possession. How heavy the heart grows when we demand permanence in a world built on change. What if, instead, you honored the fleeting beauty, letting each moment be whole as it passes. In some temples, monks create intricate mandalas of colored sand, taking days to finish them. When the final grain is placed, the mandala is swept away, the sand returned to the river. The practice is not cruel, it is liberating. It teaches that nothing is wasted, not even what vanishes. Zen masters might ask, what if your life's patterns are not lost when they fade, but completed? As you rest, dear one, imagine a wide bed of sand before you. With each breath, you draw patterns, circles, waves, spirals. With each exhale, the wind gently blurs them. At first, you resist, but then you smile. The act of raking is enough. The beauty lives in the moment, not in the holding. Can you feel the relief of letting the wind carry it all away? The young monk still raked each morning, but no longer with attachment. When the wind came, he welcomed it as part of the practice. Each erased line was not a loss, but an invitation to begin again. Friend, may you rest tonight like the sand garden, shaped beautifully in this moment, ready to let the wind carry everything away. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is ruined. Everything is complete, even as it changes. Friend, the old wooden bowl still rests in your hands, doesn't it? Its warmth, its cracks, its quiet story of countless meals. Gratitude makes it radiant, just as gratitude makes your own life glow tonight. With that thankfulness softening your heart, let us move to another story. This one about a fisherman and the lesson he learned when his net came up empty. By the wide mouth of a river, a fisherman cast his net each morning. He had lived by this water all his life, and his skill was known throughout the village. But in his later years, he grew restless. "I must catch more," he muttered. "I must prove my worth." One morning, he threw his net as always, but when he pulled it back, it was empty. Again he cast. Again. Nothing. Frustration grew. "The river mocks me," he said angrily. "What use am I, if even fish avoid me?" An old monk passing by watched silently. When the fisherman raised his net a third time, it came back bare, dripping only water. The monk smiled. "Your net is perfect," the monk said. The fisherman scowled. "Perfect? It caught nothing." "Exactly," the monk replied. "It caught emptiness. And emptiness is the greatest catch of all. You can fill a net with fish, but soon they rot. What the net holds now is endless. It is space itself, the breath of the river, the life that cannot be measured." The fisherman paused. He looked at the dripping threads. Within them was not loss, but flow. The water passed through without end, fresh, and ungraspable. For the first time, he saw his net as more than a tool. It was a teacher. Zen reminds us, emptiness is not nothingness. It is openness, spaciousness, the very condition that allows all things to appear. The Buddha said, form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. The net is valuable not only for what it holds, but for the spaces in between. Friend, think of your own life. Do you measure yourself only by what you catch? Achievements, possessions, praise? What if the greatest treasure is not in the catching, but in the open spaces? Can you honor the emptiness that allows everything else to flow through? In some monasteries, novices weave nets not for fishing, but for meditation. They learn that the strength of the net lies in its gaps, just as the strength of the heart lies in its openness. Zen masters might ask, are you clinging to what fills your net, or can you rest in the spaces between? As you lie here, dear one, imagine casting a net into the waters of your mind. When you pull it back, it holds no fish, no clutter, only emptiness, open and free. At first you may feel disappointment, but then relief. Nothing to carry, nothing to rot, only the flow of water through open space. The fisherman continued to cast his net each day, but his heart changed. Whether he caught fish or not, he felt the river's gift. He knew now that emptiness was never a failure. It was the space in which life could breathe. Friend, tonight, may your own net be empty, free of burdens, free of grasping, wide open for peace to flow through. Friend, the fisherman's net still glistens in your mind, doesn't it? Dripping, not with fish, but with emptiness, spacious, open, freeing. Can you feel how light that emptiness is? How it relieves you from carrying what you don't need? With that calm openness in your heart, let us step into another story. This one about an old pair of shoes, worn smooth by countless journeys, and the wisdom hidden in each step. In a remote monastery, a revered teacher was nearing the end of his life. His body had grown frail, but his spirit remained bright. One day, his students noticed the sandals he wore, simple wooden soles tied with fraying straps, so old they seemed ready to fall apart. "Master," one student said gently, "why do you continue to wear these worn shoes? We can bring you new ones, soft and strong." The teacher smiled, lifting his foot slowly. "These shoes have carried me through mountains and valleys. Each mark is a memory. Each crack is a step on the path. Why should I cast them aside when they still walk with me?" The students fell silent, listening. Enlightenment, the Master continued, is not found in a single great leap. It is found in countless small steps, steps that wear shoes thin, steps that trace paths across the earth, steps that teach patience. Even now, each step I take is the Buddha's step. That night, one of the younger monks examined his own sandals. They were plain, already showing signs of wear. He realized for the first time that the dust clinging to them was sacred too. It told the story of practice, of effort, of devotion. The Buddha himself spent his life walking through forests, villages, and fields, teaching along the way. He said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." Each step, each thought, is a shaping of the path. The shoes remind us that enlightenment is not a distant peak, but the journey itself. Friend, think of your own journey. Do you ever dismiss the small steps, waiting for a grand arrival? What if the worn soles of your daily effort are already sacred? Each step through joy, through struggle, through ordinary days, carries you along the path of awakening. In some monasteries, monks leave their old sandals at the temple gate when they pass away. The sandals are not discarded. They are honored, kept as reminders that enlightenment is walked, not reached. Zen masters might ask, if your life were a pair of shoes, what story would the wear and tear tell? As you rest, my dear one, imagine slipping off your own shoes. See the dust, the marks, the journeys they've taken. Feel gratitude for every step, each one necessary, each one perfect. Now imagine walking barefoot on soft earth, each step gentle, steady, carrying you closer to peace. The old teacher passed away not long after, his sandals left by the door. Students would touch them lightly before meditation, reminded that awakening was not a leap into heaven, but a steady walk upon the earth. Friend, tonight may you rest as though your steps have already carried you far enough. You are on the path. You are exactly where you need to be. Friend, can you still see those worn shoes at the doorway? Their soles thin, their straps frayed, yet full of the story of every step taken. Each mark carried the quiet truth that awakening is not a sudden arrival, but the journey itself. With that image resting softly in your mind, let us wander into another story. This one about a hidden waterfall, its voice of peace concealed beneath the roar of noise. A young student once lived in a monastery near the mountains. From dawn until dusk, he was haunted by noise, shouts from the market, clatter of carts, the ceaseless chatter of his own thoughts. "Master," he said one evening, frustrated, "I cannot meditate. Everywhere there is noise. My mind cannot find silence." The master smiled. "Come with me." They walked together into the mountains. The path grew narrow, the air cool. At last, they reached a cliff where a waterfall thundered into a deep pool below. The sound was deafening, crashing against stone, echoing into the valley. The student covered his ears. "Master," he shouted, "this is worse. The noise here is louder than the city." The master placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "Listen more deeply." The student frowned, but tried. Beneath the crashing roar, he began to hear something else. A steady hum, low and endless, like the earth itself singing. The more he listened, the more the roar faded into background, until all he could feel was the deep, soothing vibration. The master whispered, "Peace does not mean the absence of noise. Peace is the current beneath it. Just as the waterfall thunders on the surface, yet beneath it flows the eternal river, steady and calm. When you listen deeply, you hear what is always there." Tears filled the student's eyes. He realized the noise of his own mind was like the waterfall, loud, insistent, but resting upon a current of stillness that never ceased. The Buddha said, "Within this very body, there is a river of peace." Zen reminds us that silence is not created by removing sound, but by hearing beyond it. Friend, think of your own world tonight. Perhaps you hear cars in the distance, or voices in your mind still repeating the day's stories. What if you listened deeper? Could you feel the steady current beneath it all? The silence that holds even noise? In some monasteries, novices meditate beside waterfalls or rushing rivers. At first, they are overwhelmed, but in time, they discover the hum beneath the roar, the peace beneath the sound. Zen masters might ask, do you listen only to the waterfall? Or can you hear the river flowing beneath? As you rest, my dear one, imagine yourself beside that waterfall. At first, the roar is loud, overwhelming, but as you soften, you begin to hear the hum beneath it, steady and endless. Let your thoughts be like the spray of water, wild for a moment, then dissolving. Beneath them, feel the current of stillness flowing in you, constant and calm. The student returned from the mountain, changed. When he sat in the noisy market, he no longer fought the sounds. He listened beneath them to the hum of peace that had always been waiting. Friend, tonight may you hear the same. Beneath every thought, beneath every noise, the hidden waterfall flows in you, steady, soothing, eternal. Friend, can you still hear the hidden hum of that waterfall? Beneath the thunder, beneath the spray, the river sang a deeper song, the same current of peace that flows quietly in you. As your breath softens, let us follow another story. This one about a stone lantern and the gentle way true guidance glows without burning. In the courtyard of a temple stood an old stone lantern. Its surface was rough, worn by decades of wind and rain. Each evening, a monk placed a single candle within, and the lantern glowed softly, casting light across the path. One night, a novice complained to his teacher, "Master, the lantern's light is too dim. It cannot drive away the vast darkness of the night. Why not light a great fire, one that burns bright enough to scatter the shadows completely?" The teacher shook his head. "A great fire consumes everything, leaving ashes. This lantern burns gently. It does not fight the darkness. It only shows the next step." The novice frowned. "But what of the darkness that remains?" The teacher lifted the lantern. Its glow illuminated a small circle around them. "Is it not enough to see where to place your feet? Darkness beyond this circle is not your concern tonight. Walk step by step, and the light will always follow." The novice stood quietly, watching the small flame. He realized the lantern did not need to conquer the night. It only needed to guide him where he was. The Buddha said, "If you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path." Zen wisdom reminds us that guidance is not about dazzling brilliance, but about steady presence. Friend, how often do you demand great clarity, wanting the entire road ahead lit at once? Do you feel restless when only the next step is visible? Yet peace comes when we accept that the lantern's circle is enough. In some temples, monks carry lanterns through gardens at night. They walk slowly, one step at a time, never rushing. The practice teaches trust, that the light of awareness will always be enough for the step you are on. Zen masters might ask, what if the small light you carry is already sufficient? As you rest, dear one, imagine holding a stone lantern. Its glow is soft, golden, illuminating only a small circle around you. Beyond, the night is vast, but you do not fear it. You step slowly, calmly, guided only by what you can see. Each breath is a step, and with each step, the light follows. The novice no longer wished for great fires. He carried the lantern gladly, learning to trust its gentle glow. Over time, he discovered the truth. The darkness was never an enemy. It only made the lantern's small light more precious. Friend, may you rest tonight in the glow of your own lantern, steady, gentle, enough. Trust it to guide you, one step, one breath, one dream at a time. Long ago, a village monk was given a large drum to use in ceremonies. It was beautifully made, with a wooden frame and skin stretched tight. The children of the village loved to gather and strike it, laughing at the deep sound that echoed across the hills. One day, a group of young men quarreled in the square. Their voices rose, their tempers flared, and soon they were on the verge of blows. The monk carried the drum into the midst of the crowd and struck it once. The sound was so deep, so resonant, that it seemed to shake the air itself. Everyone froze. Even the men who had been ready to fight stopped and stared. The monk looked around at them and said nothing. He simply tapped the drum again, letting the vibration ripple out into silence. A child tugged at his sleeve and asked, "Master, why does the drum sound so powerful?" The monk smiled. "Because it is empty inside. If it were full, it would only thud. Its strength comes from its hollow heart. So it is with us. The less we are filled with anger and pride, the more our presence resounds." The Buddha taught, emptiness is the highest truth. But emptiness in Buddhism does not mean nothingness. It means freedom, space, the openness that allows wisdom and compassion to resonate. Friend, think of your own heart. When it is cluttered with anger or defensiveness, do your words not fall heavy and dull? Yet when your heart is open, your voice and presence ripple gently, touching others without effort. Could it be that your power lies not in what you carry, but in the space you allow? In some monasteries, monks meditate beside large drums. They strike them once, then sit in stillness as the sound fades. The lesson is in the resonance, not the blow, but the way emptiness carries the sound long after the strike is gone. Zen masters might ask, what might resound through your life if your heart were more empty, more open? As you rest here, dear one, imagine yourself as a great drum. Your body still, your heart hollow and spacious. A single breath rises in you like a strike, and the exhale ripples outward, carrying calm across the night. Feel how each breath resounds, fading into silence, leaving you lighter, freer. The villagers remembered that day not as a quarrel, but as the day the drum spoke peace. They realized it was not the monk's strength that stopped the fight, but the emptiness of the drum that echoed so deeply. Friend, may your heart tonight be just as open, just as resonant, empty of struggle, yet full of peace that vibrates softly through the quiet of your dreams. Friend, the hollow drum still echoes softly in you, doesn't it? Its deep vibration fading into silence, reminding you that emptiness is not weakness, but the space that allows peace to resound. Let that resonance remain in your chest as we step into another tale. This one about morning dew, jewels that sparkle briefly and vanish with the sun. At dawn, a young monk walked through the monastery garden carrying a pail of water. As he passed along the grass, he noticed hundreds of droplets of dew shining like diamonds in the first light. He set down his pail and knelt, staring in wonder. "Master," he called excitedly, "come see. Jewels cover the garden. Have we been blessed with treasures?" The master joined him, his robe brushing against the grass. He bent down, gazing at the tiny droplets glittering across each blade. Then he said, "Yes, these are treasures, but watch closely." As the sun rose higher, the warmth spread across the garden. Slowly, one by one, the droplets vanished, leaving only green blades of grass. The young monk gasped, "They're gone. The jewels have disappeared." The master shook his head gently. "They have not disappeared. They were never jewels at all. They were water, reflecting the sun for a brief moment. Their beauty came not from permanence, but from passing, just as our own lives shine brightly because they do not last." The boy bowed deeply, realizing that impermanence was not loss, but wonder. The Buddha said, "This existence of ours is as transient as autumn clouds. To watch the birth and death of beings is like looking at the movements of a dance." Zen reminds us that the briefest sparkle can carry the deepest beauty. Friend, think of your own life. How often do you chase treasures, hoping they will last forever? Yet the truest treasures may be like dew, fleeting, fragile, radiant, because they vanish. Could you cherish them more deeply, knowing they will pass? In some monasteries, monks rise before dawn just to walk among dew-covered gardens. They bow to each droplet, honoring it as a teaching. Beauty is not in duration, but in presence. Zen masters might ask, what if the very fact that something ends is what makes it precious? As you rest, dear one, imagine a field before you at sunrise. Each blade of grass glitters with jewels of dew. You gaze with wonder, knowing they will soon fade. Instead of clinging, you smile, savoring their shimmer. With each breath, you too become like a droplet, fragile, luminous, complete in this moment. The young monk carried that morning in his heart forever. Each time he saw something fade, flowers wilting, friends departing, seasons changing, he remembered the dew and whispered, "How beautiful you are, because you pass." Friend, may you drift into dreams tonight, like dew at dawn. radiant in your brief shining, dissolving gently into light, leaving behind only peace. Friend, the morning dew still sparkles in your mind, doesn't it? Tiny jewels glowing for a moment before melting back into the earth. Their beauty lived not in permanence, but in their passing. Hold that soft truth in your heart as we walk into the next story, one about echoes in the mountains and how the world always returns what we send into it. A young traveler once crossed a valley surrounded by steep cliffs. As he climbed a narrow path, weary from days on the road, he shouted in frustration, "Why must life be so hard?" To his surprise, a voice called back from the cliffs, "Why must life be so hard?" Startled, he shouted again, "Who mocks me?" The voice returned, "Who mocks me?" His anger grew. "I hate you," he yelled. The echo roared back, "I hate you." Furious, the traveler stormed down the path and found an old monk sitting by the trail. "There is someone in the mountains who insults me," the traveler exclaimed. The monk chuckled. "Ah, the echo. Shout again, but this time with kindness." Confused but desperate, the traveler cupped his hands and shouted, "I love you." From the cliffs came the reply, "I love you." He whispered, astonished, "Thank you." And the echo whispered back, "Thank you." The monk placed a hand on his shoulder. The world is your echo. What you send out, it returns. If you wish to hear kindness, speak it first. If you long for peace, live it first. Do not curse the mountains for answering your own voice. The Buddha said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal law." The mountain echo reminds us that the quality of our own hearts shapes the world we perceive. Friend, reflect for a moment. What echoes do you hear in your life? Do others return your harshness, your impatience? Or do they reflect the gentleness and gratitude you've offered? Could you change the sound of your world simply by changing your voice? In some monasteries, novices stand on cliffs and call into the valleys, practicing words of compassion. They shout blessings, mantras, kind wishes, and always the mountains return them, magnified and clear. Zen masters might ask, if life is your echo, what voice will you choose tonight? As you rest, dear one, imagine yourself standing in a mountain valley. You call out softly, "Peace." The echo returns, "Peace." You whisper, "I am safe." The mountains whisper back, "I am safe." Let your own heart become the echo chamber tonight, repeating back every kindness you give yourself. The traveler left the mountains lighter than he had arrived. Each time he heard harshness in the world, he remembered the cliffs and asked himself, "What voice did I send first?" Friend, may your dreams tonight echo only with gentleness. Speak softly to yourself, and let peace return again and again until it fills you completely. Friend, can you still see the sand garden in your mind? The spirals drawn so carefully, the wind erasing them with a single breath. Doesn't it feel lighter to know that nothing is wasted, that beauty lives in the moment and not in the clinging? Let us carry that ease into the next story, one about clouds drifting across the sky, and the reminder they bring about thoughts, impermanence, and freedom. A young novice once came to his master in frustration. His meditation, he said, was plagued by thoughts that would not stop. "I sit in silence, master," he groaned, "but my mind races with worry, anger, and endless chatter. I cannot find peace. How do I silence these thoughts?" The master led him outside. Together, they stood in the monastery courtyard, where the wide sky stretched endlessly overhead. The afternoon sun glowed, and across the blue drifted slow, white clouds. "Look up," the master said. The novice squinted. "Yes, master, I see clouds." The master nodded. "Do you command them to appear?" "No." "Do you order them to move?" "No, master." "And when they vanish beyond the mountains, do you mourn their leaving?" The novice paused. "No." The master smiled. "Then treat your thoughts as clouds. They pass through the sky of your mind. Some are dark with storm, some bright as morning, but none remain forever. You need not silence them. You need only watch them drift." The novice tilted his head back, watching the clouds for a long time. He realized his thoughts, like the sky's visitors, were not enemies to battle, but travelers to observe. Zen often speaks of mind as sky and thoughts as clouds. The Buddha said, "Nothing is permanent. Everything is subject to change. Being is always becoming." Our suffering comes not from the clouds, but from clinging to them as though they were the sky itself. Friend, think of your own mind tonight. Perhaps worries drift across or memories flicker. Instead of struggling, can you let them pass? Can you feel the vastness of awareness beneath them, steady and endless like the sky? In some monasteries, monks meditate outdoors, gazing at the heavens. They watch clouds shift shape, dissolve, and vanish, reminding themselves that every thought, no matter how heavy, will also pass. Zen masters might ask, what if you trusted your thoughts to dissolve on their own, without you chasing them away? As you rest here, dear one, imagine lying in a meadow beneath an open sky. Thoughts drift across like clouds, white, gray, foam. Slow. You breathe and simply watch. The sky remains vast, untouched, infinite. No cloud can stain it. Let your awareness be that sky tonight, holding everything, resisting nothing. The novice's meditation changed from that day. He no longer tried to silence his thoughts. Instead, he became the sky, watching clouds drift freely. And in that watching, peace arose naturally. Friend, may you too rest as the sky tonight, vast, steady, untouched, while every cloud of thought drifts softly away into dreams. Friend, can you still feel the wide sky above you with its drifting clouds? Each thought rising, moving, dissolving, never yours to hold, never yours to control. The spaciousness of that sky lives in your own chest now, steady and boundless. With that calm inside, let us step into another story, one about an old wooden bowl, and the way gratitude transforms even the simplest of things. In a small mountain temple, each monk was given one wooden bowl. It was their only vessel for rice, soup, or tea, passed down from monk to monk through the years. The bowls were old, their edges worn smooth by countless hands. Some bore cracks that had been mended with resin, some darkened by decades of use. A young monk received his first bowl one winter morning. When he looked at it, he frowned. This bowl is ugly, he thought. It is chipped and scarred. Why do we not have new ones, polished and perfect? That evening, the master noticed the boy's discontent. He lifted his own bowl and said, "Do you see this crack? For 20 years, it has held my rice. Each line, each scar, is the story of meals that sustained me. Would you call this ugly?" The young monk blushed, but remained silent. The master continued, "The Buddha taught that even a single grain of rice is as vast as a mountain, for it carries the effort of countless beings, farmers, rain, earth, sun. This bowl, though worn, holds the universe each time it is filled. Gratitude makes it radiant." That night, the young monk ate from his bowl more slowly. He noticed the warmth of the soup, the way the wood smelled faintly of earth, the comfort it carried. And as he finished, he bowed to the bowl itself. Zen often points us to gratitude for the ordinary. The Buddha said, "Let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. A worn bowl can become a treasure when seen with thankful eyes. Friend, consider your own life. Are there simple things you overlook? The pillow that supports you now, the blanket warming your body, the steady rhythm of your breath. What if each were treated as precious as gold? How would gratitude transform your rest tonight? Some monks practice by bowing to their bowls after every meal, whispering thanks. Others polish their cracked bowls tenderly, honoring the scars as reminders of nourishment received. In time, the bowl itself becomes sacred, not because it is flawless, but because it is appreciated. Zen masters might ask, what if nothing needed to change in your life, except the eyes you see it with? As you rest, dear one, imagine holding an old wooden bowl. It is warm, worn, imperfect, yet it carries nourishment. See the small cracks, the faded grain, the history etched within it. Breathe in gratitude, not for what it could be, but for what it already is. Feel how light your heart becomes when nothing needs to be different. The young monk never looked at his bowl the same way again. Each meal became a lesson in gratitude, each crack a reminder of blessings too often unseen. Friend, tonight may you rest with the same gratitude, treasuring the ordinary, honoring the simple, finding wealth in the small gifts already in your hands. Friend, can you still see the stone lantern glowing in your hands? Its soft light guiding one step at a time, never rushing, never fighting the night. Isn't it comforting to know that you don't need the whole path lit, that this gentle glow is always enough? With that calm in your chest, let us move into another story, one told by a single falling leaf. In autumn, a monastery was surrounded by tall maples whose leaves blazed red and gold. One afternoon, a novice sat beneath the trees, troubled by change in his life, friends leaving, seasons shifting, his own heart restless. "Master," he sighed, "why must things always change? Why can nothing stay as it is?" The master knelt beside him and pointed upward. A single red leaf drifted from the branch, spinning gracefully as it fell. The novice watched it turn and sway, caught briefly in the breeze before it landed softly on the ground. "Do you mourn the leaves falling?" the master asked. The novice hesitated. "It was beautiful on the tree. Now it is gone." The master smiled gently. "It is still beautiful, is it not? Its journey is complete. While it clung to the branch, it gave shade and life. As it falls, it nourishes the soil. Each stage belongs. None is loss." Friend, can you still hear the mountains answering back? Your words carried across valleys, returning to you like gifts. The echo teaches us that life mirrors our hearts. Hold that reflection close as we move to another story, one about an open window and the breeze that clears a cluttered mind. A novice once lived in a tiny, dark room at the monastery. He studied diligently, reciting sutras late into the night. Yet, despite his effort, his thoughts grew heavy. "My mind feels crowded," he confessed to his master. "No matter how I recite, peace will not come." The master entered his room, looked around at the closed shutters, the still air, the faint smell of smoke from the lamp. Without a word, he unlatched the window. A breeze rushed in, carrying the cool scent of pine. It stirred the monk's robes, rustled the pages of his sutra, and lifted the heaviness from the air. The novice closed his eyes, feeling his breath deepen for the first time that day. The master smiled. "Wisdom is like the breeze. It cannot enter when the windows of the mind are shut tight. Open yourself, and it comes naturally." The novice bowed, realizing that all his reciting had been like closed shutters, effort without openness. The air was always there, waiting, but only entered when invited. The Buddha taught, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life. But the fire does not arrive by force. It comes when there is openness, readiness, and space for it to breathe. Friend, think of your own mind tonight. Are the shutters closed tight with worry, with endless tasks, with thoughts that chase each other in circles? What would happen if you opened a window, letting fresh air sweep through, clearing everything with a single breath? In some monasteries, monks clean their meditation halls by opening every door and window. Dust swirls in the breeze, sunlight spills in, and the air feels new. They call this wind cleansing, a practice of inviting life to enter. Zen masters might ask, what wisdom might arrive if you opened yourself, instead of trying so hard to force it in? As you rest, dear one, imagine a window in your chest opening wide. A cool, gentle breeze flows in, clearing away the smoke of thought. Your lungs expand easily. Your body softens. Each breath is fresh air. Each exhale sweeps away what no longer serves. The novice kept his shutters open from then on. Each morning, as the breeze stirred his room, he whispered, "Enter wisdom." And he discovered that peace had always been waiting at the window. Friend, tonight may your own windows open. May the breeze of stillness flow through you, carrying away every worry, leaving only clear, gentle air to guide you into dreams. Friend, can you feel the breeze still drifting through you? Cool and clear, carrying away the smoke of thought, leaving your chest open and light. With the windows of your heart wide, let us step into another story. This one about a sleeping dog and how rest itself can be the truest practice. In a small village temple, a young monk struggled with exhaustion. He worked diligently from dawn until midnight, memorizing sutras, sweeping the courtyards, carrying water from the stream. But when it came time to meditate, his body rebelled. His head drooped, his breath grew ragged, and soon he nodded into sleep. Ashamed, he confessed to his master, "I am a failure. I sit to meditate, but I always fall asleep." The master chuckled softly. "Come with me." They walked into the courtyard where an old dog slept in the sun. Its belly rose and fell steadily, its body loose and heavy, ears twitching now and then, with dreams. The master pointed. "See this dog? Do you call him a failure?" The monk shook his head. "No, master. He is only resting." "Exactly," said the master. "Rest is also practice. The Buddha himself taught that to care for the body is part of the way. When you sleep with awareness, you breathe like the dog, simple, natural, at peace. Meditation is not only sitting upright with effort. It is also the surrender that lets body and mind heal. The young monk watched the dog's breath. For the first time, he did not despise his drowsiness. He realized that even sleep could be a gate into peace. The Buddha once said, "Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth. To rest fully is to honor both." Zen reminds us that practice is not about pushing harder, but about living each moment with presence, even the moments of sleep. Friend, do you scold yourself for needing rest? Do you think peace is found only in effort, in sitting perfectly still, in staying awake when your body begs to sleep? What if rest itself were meditation? What if sleep were a sacred practice? In some monasteries, monks practice sleeping meditation. They lie down mindfully, noticing the weight of their body, the rhythm of their breath, the drift of thought dissolving into dreams. They call it yoga of sleep, a reminder that awareness does not vanish when the body rests. Zen masters might ask, can you see your sleep not as absence, but as practice? As you lie here, dear one, imagine yourself as that old dog in the sun, your body loose, heavy, perfectly at ease. Your breath rises, falls, rises, falls. Each twitch of thought is just a dream forming and dissolving. No failure, only rest. no shame, only healing. The young monk stopped fighting his drowsiness. When sleep came, he let it arrive as gently as a guest. And in time, his rest deepened his meditation, for he realized both were doorways to the same peace. Friend, tonight may you rest in that same way, aware, gentle, trusting that even your dreams are part of the path. Sleep is not leaving the practice. Sleep is the practice. Friend, the image of that old Dao still lingers, doesn't it? His belly rising and falling in the sun, each breath effortless, each twitch of dream, just another ripple of peace. With that same ease in your own body, let us step into another story, one about music, silence, and how a broken string can reveal a song that never truly ends. In a small village, there lived a musician known for the beauty of his lute. His fingers danced across the strings, filling the air with melodies that made listeners weep with joy. But one evening, while playing for a gathering of monks, a string snapped with a sharp twang. The music stopped. The musician looked stricken. "Forgive me," he said. "The song is ruined." An old master shook his head. "Is it ruined? Listen." The hall grew quiet. At first, there was only silence, but as the silence deepened, the monks began to hear something else. The echoes of the notes still trembling in the air, fading slowly, yet somehow still alive. The song lingered, even without the string. The master smiled. The music does not end when the string breaks. Sound and silence are not separate. Each note continues in its fading. Each silence is part of the song. What you think has ended is still here, in another form. The musician sat in awe. He plucked the remaining strings softly, letting the gaps between notes become as important as the notes themselves. The silence was no longer empty. It was music, too. The Buddha taught, "All things arise and pass away, but in their passing, there is no loss, only change." Zen reminds us that endings are not failures. They are simply the next movement in the song of existence. Friend, think of your own life. Have you mourned something you thought was broken? An ending, a loss, a silence where music once was? Could it be that the melody continues, quieter, but still present, carried in memory, in presence, in the very silence itself? In some monasteries, monks practice chanting until their voices fade into breath, then into silence. They bow not at the sound, but at the silence that follows, knowing it too carries the teaching. Zen masters might ask, is the silence after the note any less part of the song As you rest, dear one, imagine holding a lute in your lap. You pluck a string, and the sound rings clear, then fades. Instead of grieving its end, you follow the fading, listening until it dissolves into silence. And you realize the silence is singing too. Let your own breath be like that tonight. Each inhale a note, each exhale a fading, silence the music beneath it all. The musician played differently after that night. His songs were slower, fuller, alive with both sound and silence. Listeners said they could hear eternity in the pauses. Friend, may you also hear eternity tonight. Let silence sing you to sleep. Let every breath, every pause, every quiet moment remind you that the song of your life has never ended. It is only changing form, always carrying you deeper into peace. Friend, the music still hums within you, doesn't it? The notes fading into silence, the silence itself becoming part of the song. Can you feel it in your breath now? Each inhale like a rising melody, each exhale like the quiet after a string has been plucked. With that rhythm steady inside you, let us move into another tale, this one about a forgotten sutra, and how wisdom sometimes lives beyond words. In a mountainside monastery, a young monk was tasked with caring for the library. Shelves upon shelves held sacred scrolls, each one copied carefully by hand. Among them was a rare sutra, old and brittle, said to contain teachings not found anywhere else. The monk treasured it deeply. Each evening, he unrolled it, tracing the characters with reverence. But one night, a storm blew through the valley. Rain seeped through the roof, wind rattled the shutters, and when dawn came, the precious sutra was gone, washed away in the flood. Distraught, the monk wept before his master. All is lost. The wisdom is gone forever. The master lifted his gaze from his tea. Is it gone? He asked softly. Yes, the monk cried. The words are destroyed. The master sipped, then replied, The words may be gone, but was it the words that taught you, or what you lived when you read them? Wisdom is not in paper, but in practice. If you carry the sutra in your heart, how can it be lost? The monk closed his eyes. He remembered passages he had read, not word for word, but as feelings. The peace he felt, the patience that grew, the compassion that bloomed. He realized the sutra had already left the page and taken root within him. The Buddha once said, Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Zen reminds us that true wisdom is not in memorizing, but in embodying. Friend, do you ever cling to words, books, lessons, teachings, believing they hold the key? What if the key has already unlocked your heart? Could it be that the most important truths are not read, but lived? In some monasteries, teachers deliberately give students koans, paradoxical riddles that cannot be solved with intellect. When the student finally stops chasing words, the truth blooms in silence. Zen masters might ask, if every book vanished tonight, would wisdom still live in you? As you rest, dear one, imagine holding a scroll in your hands. The ink fades, the paper dissolves, and at first you panic. But then you notice the teaching has already entered you. It lives in your breath, in your kindness, in the peace you feel now. You never needed the words. The young monk stopped mourning the lost sutra. He walked differently, spoke differently, treated others with compassion. People noticed his calm presence and said, "He must have read something profound." But he only smiled, knowing the true sutra was already alive within him. Friend, tonight may you rest with the same trust. You have read enough, learned enough. The wisdom you seek is already in you, whispering softly as you drift into sleep. Friend, the forgotten sutra still rests in your heart, doesn't it? Not as fragile paper or fading ink, but as living presence, as the kindness and calm that breathe through you even now. With that reminder that wisdom is carried inside, let us step into another story, this one about a bridge of stars and the trust it takes to walk upon what cannot be grasped. There was once a traveler who came to the edge of a wide desert. On the far side, mountains glimmered, promising shelter and fresh water. But the sands between were endless, shifting, treacherous. No road marked the way. At night, the traveler sat by his small fire, staring at the dark horizon. How will I ever cross? He wondered. There is nothing firm beneath my feet, nothing to guide me. An old wanderer joined him by the flames. He pointed upward to the night sky, where countless stars shone brightly. These are the oldest guides, he said. Long before roads, long before maps, travelers crossed oceans and deserts by trusting the stars. They cannot be grasped, but they will not lead you astray. The young traveler frowned. But I cannot touch them. They seem so far away. The old wanderer smiled. Do you need to touch them, or only to trust? That night, the traveler set out, fixing his gaze on the constellations the wanderer had shown him. Step by step, guided only by what he could not hold, he crossed the desert. By dawn, he stood at the foot of the mountains, amazed that the unreachable had carried him so faithfully. Zen reminds us that faith is not blind belief, but quiet trust in what cannot be grasped. The Buddha said, "Just as a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without faith." To walk the path, we do not always need certainty. We need trust. Friend, think of your own life. Do you hesitate at the desert of the unknown, waiting for a perfect map? What if the guidance you need is already above you, shining quietly, asking only for trust? In some monasteries, monks walk in the dark gardens, guided only by stars. They practice not to conquer the night, but to trust it, to let the sky itself show them where to place their feet. Zen masters might ask, must you always grasp your guide, or can you follow what you cannot hold? As you rest, dear one, imagine lying beneath a vast sky. Stars glitter above, steady, timeless. You cannot touch them, yet you know they are there, guiding you. Trust their light as you drift into sleep. Each breath is a step across the desert, each heartbeat another lantern of stars. The traveler never forgot the night he crossed the sands by starlight. Years later, whenever life seemed uncertain, he looked upward, remembering that guidance need not be held in the hand to be real. Friend, tonight may you also cross the desert of thought by trusting the stars above you. Their light is ancient, steady, and always waiting to guide you home. Friend, can you still feel the stars above you, steady and bright? Their light unreachable, yet guiding you all the same, as though the night itself whispers, "Trust me." With that starlight resting gently in your heart, let us step into another story. This one about a clay roof tile, and how even dust can become a treasure. In a small temple, students often swept the courtyard and carried away broken bits of tile that had fallen from the old roof. They tossed the fragments aside as useless rubble, never giving them a second glance. One day, a new novice knelt by the temple gate, polishing a piece of tile until it gleamed. He rubbed it with cloth, dipped it in water, worked patiently as the others laughed. "Why waste your time on rubbish?" they jeered. "A broken tile is nothing but dust." The novice only smiled and continued polishing. After some hours, the surface shone like a mirror. When the master passed by, he bent down, gazed into the gleaming shard, and said, "Ah, even this broken tile reflects the sky." The students fell silent. The master turned to them. "Do you think awakening comes only from perfect things? Dust, tile, stone, all are Buddha if you know how to look. Treasure is not hidden elsewhere. It is found in what you dismiss." From then on, the students swept the courtyard differently. Each fragment they touched reminded them that enlightenment could shine through the ordinary, even through what they once called worthless. The Buddha said, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path." Zen adds, "There is no dust too small, no tile too broken to reflect the truth." Friend, think of your own days. Do you ever dismiss the ordinary, chasing after only what seems grand? What if the cracks, the fragments, the overlooked parts of your life are already shining, waiting for you to see them? In some monasteries, monks polish broken tiles not to make mirrors, but to remind themselves that every fragment of life can reflect awakening. The practice is not about perfection. It is about seeing the light in everything. Zen masters might ask, what broken piece of your life is waiting for you to see its hidden shine? As you rest, dear one, imagine holding a shard of tile in your hand. At first, it feels rough, unremarkable. But as you breathe, you notice light glinting off its surface. You tilt it, and suddenly, the sky itself reflects back at you. Can you see how even the smallest fragment carries the whole? The novice continued polishing tiles, but not to impress anyone. He polished because each fragment reminded him that treasure was already here, waiting in every step, every breath. Friend, tonight may you see the treasure in your own fragments. May even the dust in your day reveal the sky, guiding you gently into peace. Friend, the polished tile still glimmers in your hand, doesn't it? A broken shard that, with patience, revealed the sky. Can you feel how even the smallest fragment of your own life shines when seen with gentle eyes? Hold that thought as we move into another story, one about ripples on a pond, and how even the smallest actions echo far beyond themselves. In a quiet village, there was a pond so still it reflected the trees and clouds above like a mirror. Children often played at its edge, tossing pebbles into the water and laughing at the rings that spread outward. One afternoon, a young monk sat by the pond with his master. He picked up a stone and dropped it into the water. The ripples spread wider and wider until they reached the far shore. "See," the master said, "how one small stone touches the entire pond. So it is with our thoughts and actions. Each one sends waves, seen or unseen, across the lives of others." The monk frowned. "But Master, I am only one person. How can my thoughts matter so much?" The master picked up another pebble and let it fall. Each drop matters. If you throw anger, anger spreads. If you cast kindness, kindness spreads. The pond does not choose. The ripples move outward no matter what we drop. The young monk gazed at the pond. He remembered words he had spoken in haste, harsh and careless. and wondered how far their ripples had reached. He also remembered small kindnesses he had offered and smiled, imagining their gentle circles touching distant shores. The Buddha taught, "Our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think." Zen reminds us that every action, every word, every thought is like a pebble in the pond, creating ripples that continue long after we forget them. Friend, reflect gently. What ripples have you cast today? Did your words bring peace or restlessness? Did your actions carry calm or agitation? What if tonight you chose to drop only kindness into the waters of your life? In some monasteries, monks stand silently by water, dropping pebbles one at a time. With each ripple, they whisper a blessing. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings rest in peace. They watch the circles spread, knowing the intention itself touches the world. Zen masters might ask, "What ripple do you wish to send into the world tonight?" As you rest, dear one, imagine yourself beside that pond. The surface is calm, like glass. You hold a pebble of peace in your hand. With your exhale, you drop it gently into the water. Ripples spread outward, across the pond, across the night, across the world. Feel how your peace becomes a gift carried endlessly outward. The young monk never again dismissed his small actions. He saw every word, every breath, as a pebble on the pond, shaping the waters of the world. Friend, tonight may your ripples be gentle. May each breath send circles of peace outward, touching even the farthest shores of your dreams. Friend, can you see the ripples still spreading across the pond? Gentle rings widening, touching distant shores you cannot even see. Your own breath tonight is a pebble, sending waves of peace out into the world. With that calm in your chest, let us walk into another story, one about a simple walking stick and the quiet strength that comes from leaning when you need support. An old monk was known for walking the mountain paths each day, even as his body grew frail. He carried a wooden staff, smooth and polished from years of use. Villagers often saw him leaning on it as he climbed the steep trails. One morning, a young monk asked, "Master, why do you always carry that stick? Shouldn't you rely on your own strength?" The old monk chuckled. "This stick has carried me through storms and sunshine alike. When I lean, it does not mean I am weak. It means I walk with support. Even the Buddha leaned on his Sangha, the community of companions. Why should I pretend to walk alone?" He lifted the staff and tapped it gently against the earth. "Each time I lean, I remember Strength is not the absence of support. Strength is the wisdom to accept it. The young monk bowed, realizing he had mistaken pride for independence. He watched the elder walk away, steady with each step, and understood that the staff was not a crutch, but a companion. The Buddha taught, "A friend who is always with you in times of trial and joy is rare indeed." Zen wisdom reminds us that leaning is not weakness. It is interdependence, the truth that no being walks alone. Friend, think of your own life. Do you sometimes refuse help, afraid it means you are not strong? What if strength is not in standing alone, but in accepting support? What if leaning itself is a practice of wisdom? In some monasteries, monks walk together with shared staffs, passing them hand to hand as they travel rough paths. The act reminds them that all of life is shared, that to give and to receive help is the same dance. Zen masters might ask, "On what or on whom do you lean? And could you let yourself lean more?" As you rest here, dear one, imagine holding a walking stick. Its wood is warm, smooth, steady beneath your palm. With each breath, you lean gently into it, and it holds you. No struggle, no pride, only trust. Feel how light your steps become when you do not insist on carrying yourself alone. The old monk passed his staff on to a student when his walking days ended. "This will carry you," he said, "but only if you allow yourself to lean." The student carried it for years, remembering that strength was never about walking without support. It was about walking together. Friend, tonight may you lean fully into your pillow, into your breath, into the peace that holds you. You are supported. You are steady. You do not walk alone. Friend, can you still feel the weight of that walking stick in your hand? Smooth, steady, always ready to hold you when you lean. Doesn't it bring comfort, knowing strength is not in standing alone, but in allowing yourself to be supported? With that gentleness in your heart, let us step into another story, one about a hidden garden, waiting quietly behind walls of distraction. In the center of a bustling city stood a monastery surrounded by tall stone walls. Outside, merchants shouted, carts clattered over cobblestones, and the air was thick with noise. A young student lived there, yet even inside the temple, he could not quiet his mind. "Master," he said one day, "my thoughts are as noisy as the market. I chant, I sit, I sweep, but my head feels louder than the streets outside." The master led him through a narrow gate he had never noticed before. Beyond it lay a hidden garden. Paths of moss wound between flowering trees. A small pond reflected the sky, its surface unbroken except for drifting petals. Birds sang softly, and the air carried the fragrance of pine and blossoms. The student stood frozen. "I did not know this place existed." The master smiled. "The garden has always been here. You simply never opened the gate. So it is with the mind. Beneath the noise, there is a garden of stillness waiting. You need not create it. You need only enter." The boy bowed, realizing that peace was not something to chase, but something always present, hidden behind the walls of thought. The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Zen adds, "The garden of the mind does not need to be built. It needs to be entered." Friend, think of your own days. How often do you believe peace is far away, hidden in future plans or distant retreats? Yet behind the walls of noise in your mind, the gate is always there. What if tonight you opened it? In some monasteries, monks keep secret gardens, not for beauty, but for teaching. Students stumble upon them and realize that stillness, too, was always hidden within, waiting for their attention. Zen masters might ask, "What gate of stillness in yourself have you forgotten to open?" As you rest, dear one, imagine standing before a mossy stone gate. With your breath, you push it open. Inside lies a quiet garden. Pond, blossoms, birdsong. You step inside, closing the gate gently behind you. The noise remains outside, but within you, the stillness blooms. Rest in this secret place, safe and calm. The student returned often to that hidden garden, but eventually he realized he did not need the physical place. Even in the noise of the city, he could step inward, opening the gate of awareness. Wherever he was, the garden was already waiting. Friend, tonight may you step into your own hidden garden. May you feel its peace enfold you, its blossoms calm you, its still pond reflect the quiet sky of your heart. Friend, the hidden garden still breathes inside you, doesn't it? The blossoms swaying gently, the pond reflecting a sky untouched by noise, the bird song carrying through the stillness. Can you feel how peaceful it is to know that such a place has always been within you, only waiting for the gate to be opened? With that calm in your heart, let us step into our final story, one about a bow of gratitude, the last teaching of a master who left nothing behind but thankfulness. An old Zen teacher, beloved by many, fell gravely ill. His students gathered around, sorrow heavy in their hearts. They feared the moment of parting, uncertain how they would continue without him. As his breathing grew shallow, the master asked for help to sit upright. Slowly, with effort, he rose and faced his students. Instead of speaking a final lecture, he pressed his palms together and bowed deeply. Tears welled in the eyes of his disciples. "Master," they whispered, "why bow at this time? What lesson are you giving us now?" The old teacher's eyes glimmered softly. "Gratitude is my final teaching. For the rice that fed me, for the sandals that carried me, for the wind that cooled me, for the mistakes that shaped me, and for each of you. A bow is the simplest truth. Everything has been enough." With that, he leaned back onto his mat. His breath slowed, his body grew still, and he passed as gently as a falling leaf. His students wept, but also smiled through their tears, for they understood his final gift. The Buddha said, "Let us rise and be thankful, for if we learned little today, we learned something." Gratitude transforms even endings into peace. Friend, think of your own life. What would it mean to bow to everything? The joys, the struggles, the mistakes, the gifts. Could you rest tonight knowing that nothing was wasted? That each step, each breath has been enough? In many temples, monks bow at the start and end of each day, not out of duty, but out of recognition. They bow to the sky, the earth, the people around them, and to their own hearts. Each bow whispers, "Thank you." Zen masters might ask, what if the last thing you gave to the world was simply gratitude? As you rest, dear one, imagine yourself bowing gently. You bow to the pillow that cradles you, to the breath that sustains you, to the day that has ended. In this bow, there is no judgment, only thankfulness. Feel how light you become when everything is welcomed with gratitude. The old teacher's bow lived on in the hearts of his students. Each time they bowed, they remembered him and remembered that gratitude itself is the doorway to peace. Friend, tonight, may your own final gesture before sleep be a bow within your heart. Thank the day. Thank the breath. Thank yourself. In that gratitude, drift into the deepest rest, knowing that everything has already been enough. Friend, our journey together has reached its gentle close. We have crossed bamboo bridges and listened to unstruck bells. We have watched clouds drift across the sky, polished broken tiles until they reflected heaven, and stood in hidden gardens waiting behind the noise. Each story has been a lantern, lighting your way, not outward, but inward, into the calm that was always here. Now, let us slow everything. Your body is heavy, safe against the bed. Your breath moves like ripples on a pond, soft, widening, fading. Each exhale carries away what you no longer need. Each inhale brings in the quiet breeze of the night. Remember the falling leaf, how it showed you that change is not loss, but grace. Remember the drum, how its emptiness carried sound further than any force could. Remember the bow of the master, his last lesson that everything, even sorrow, can be met with gratitude. These are not only stories, they are truths alive in you now. Friend, you are safe here. You are whole. You are enough, exactly as you are in this moment. Nothing remains undone. Nothing more must be earned. The river of sleep is waiting to carry you, and all you must do is step gently into its flow. As your breath slows, let every thought slip free like leaves carried downstream. Let every worry dissolve into the silence beneath sound. You are held by the night. You are carried by wisdom that has no end. Friend, may you sleep deeply, peacefully. May gratitude, like the master's bow, close your day with a whisper, "Thank you." And may your dreams be wide gardens, full of moonlight, where you walk freely in joy.